Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Total Health Live, episode 76, where we're going to answer your questions like the ones, what can I do to take better care of myself? I'm Dr. Christopher Vogelmann, and with me is Monika Klein.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hope you had a great week. We're doing number 76 today.
Without the trombones, the big parade. All right. So, what's new in the land of Monika?
In the land of Monika or the land of COVID news?
The land of Monika first.
Oh, well.
People want to know more about you.
Really? Do they? Do you? Do you really?
They do.
Well, I just, I had, I'm glad it's cooler outside. And that's kind of, I'm here for you to answer your questions. And I'm sure some of those things will be my journey this last week will certainly be revealed in some of the answers I give you.
More answers.
And how about you, Christopher? How was your week?
So far, so good. I have a working weekend ahead of me, so that's going to be very interesting. I have plenty to do.
Yes, don't we all?
I'm starting a whole new YouTube series coming up shortly, so that'll be
that's great. That's great.
So we're going to talk a little bit today about mainly answering your questions, because many of you have been submitting questions, and thank you for that. I know that the majority of you are watching on replay and not live, so please use the hashtag replay so it alerts us and we can answer your questions. Or if you have any comments and ideas about what topics you'd like us to cover, we're more than willing to take those under consideration and answer your concerns. So with that in mind, I guess you were hinting at COVID stuff. So why don't we talk about...
I do have something to share. I've been having some shoulder issues, and I noticed just now how this one is higher than this one. And I don't know how many out there have this same issue, but I had a chiropractic appointment and she told me that too. So what do you have to say about that, Dr. Chiropractor in the house?
You're out of balance. You're this way or you're this way?
I'm out of touch. Yeah. So it's quite interesting.
Is that the frozen shoulder? Does the frozen shoulder make you feel older?
This is the issue shoulder.
Shoulder issues.
We still don't know what it is. Frozen issue, rotator cuff, et cetera, but
rotator cuff, you've had enough. So anyway, but I've had surgery on both shoulders, so I win. No, that actually was a losing proposition.
Really. Well, I hope I don't have to go that route, but it's like rest. You have to rest your body when you're when it's under duress. And
most of us don't rest. We keep going, taking pills and potions and lotions so that we don't have to stop. So,
well, one thing I mean, not that I don't recommend medication when it needs to be taken, but I try to do this naturally when I have an inflammatory process going on or some pain. So it's either ice, rest, heat, or other minerals and other supplements that'll be anti-inflammatory. So that's what I try, even though everyone says, take the Tylenol, take this, take that. And
Tylenol has a mixed history. In fact, I know a number of my MD friends refuse to take Tylenol because of their concerns with liver issues.
Yeah. The liver is really susceptible to...
Yeah, and since they are liver lovers, they will not take acetaminophen. So
yeah, well, I try not to. In fact, sometimes, previously, now it's different, but previously people would ask if I had any of those types of medications in the house, and I'd say, I don't know, maybe, I don't think so. But
hey, so let's, I know that you have some appointments that are coming up very shortly, so I want to make sure that we get through
We'll dive in.
Today. Let's dive. You were, there's this strong hint under number 1 of vaccine passport.
Yeah.
Are we allowing the virus to come into different countries if they show their passport?
No, it's not for viruses.
Not
But
for the
they're starting to discuss this, or I don't know if it's being used yet in Canada, but I thought, of course, I thought that the vaccination card was enough, but no, now it's an official document, government document, I assume, for passport, like a passport. So I saw this interesting video today about, it was an Upper West Side restaurant, and a group of people from Texas, when asked by the hostess to show their vaccination cards or whatever, a brawl ensued, and
that just is not done, Buffy, on the West Side or the East Side.
No, it's not done. It shouldn't be done anywhere, even in Texas. So come on, people, come on,
people, come on.
You're going to, enter somebody's house. You have to abide by their rules, period.
Take
End
off your shoes so you don't mess up our carpet.
Take off your shoes, take off your hat, whatever you need to do. Show your vaccination card.
Keep your pants on, by the way.
I mean, come on, it's just decency, plain old-fashioned decency. And so anyway,
that's why we ask people to keep their pants on. So
hold your horses and keep your pants on.
Hold
and
your horses, keep your pants on.
Leave if you need to.
Saddle up, Buttercup. So
exactly.
So that's interesting because there's an electronic version of vaccination cards that's available in California. So I thought that was interesting. You just scan a QR code and boom, it pops up. So you actually don't have to carry a card if you don't want to. Okay? Besides that, they don't even fit in a wallet. I mean, you might fit in a purse, but you're not going to fit in a wallet. They're just the wrong size. So.
Well, mine fits in my wallet. So
you must have one. Wallets, you must have one big ass wallet, because
women's wallets are different and they come in various sizes. So because women carry a lot more stuff.
Yes, they do. Women and their stuff.
Women and their stuff. And also that's why we have, well, I don't know why you had shoulder issues, but it's the most common. Apparently, I think you shared that last week. It was the most common injury because and I was in Trader Joe's yesterday for, I think now the 5th time in 18 months or 6th time. And I was saying, can I get some help with my bags? Because, my shoulders. And she said, oh my goodness, your shoulders. I said, yes. And I started explaining, yes, we do everything with our shoulders. Can you believe this? We do this and we do that.
I do not go running or doing leg presses with my shoulder.
No, but there's so much I was simply chopping a lot of vegetables this week and cooking a lot, and that aggravated not only one but both shoulders. And then after we had a conversation about the shoulders, then she asked me, how do you cook bok choy? I've always wondered. And here I'm going to tell you, it's like any other green. It's like cooking spinach or kale or chard, and you can saute it, you can steam it, you can put it in some meat dishes as well, puree it into a soup.
When it comes to bok choy, you can create some wok joy.
Really good wok joy, absolutely.
Wok joy, baby. It's gonna be my new hashtag, wok joy.
We just started growing some bok choy outside. So Rash, bok choy, and basil.
Are you going to be selling it on the streets like a lemonade stand?
I am not. I'm going to be consuming it.
Consuming. Well, that's good.
Consuming in my consomme.
Consuming and consomme. Hey, so also we're talking about that. You mentioned Delta down, but Delta's down in some areas, but hospitalizations are up in some places too.
Well, it changes every minute. And apparently California is proudly feeling like it's under containment. So there you have it.
I don't feel terribly contained. I think I'm free range at this
point.
Free
range?
Yeah, free range.
Good for some things, but not for viruses, I suppose.
That is true.
Yes.
And things do vary from region to region. I know that I think, what was the thing they were talking about? Idaho. I think everybody thinks it's always about the southern states like Mississippi or Alabama and those places. But it was that Idaho had this craziness. Let me see if I can find a tab here. I was looking for, can't find it. Bummer. Bummer. I was going to share something with you, but that's okay. I'll have to do it a later time. Actually, no, it's on my screen, so I guess I can show it to you. It's whoop, there it went. Share. Whoa, Inception.
Hi.
That's better.
After Delta, this looks like an ad for 10xing something.
No, this is not Grant. This is not Grant Cardone trying to 10x your wealth.
Yeah, 10x your business. That's what that looks like.
But this is
interesting.
It's the 5x, 10x.
I mean, this looks like a used car salesperson, kind of like.
Except it's from the CDC. So.
Yeah, but interesting that it's the same sort of look, imagery.
It's trying to make an impression on people because otherwise they don't pay attention. And so the whole thing about it was that even though people still seem to feel this is controversial, like Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's testicles allegedly swelling up or so. He probably, by the way, the guy probably has an STD. That's the latest, and they blame it on the the vaccination, which is pretty.
It's interesting when the first image, it's like, oh, you can get a good deal on Delta Airlines, 5x, 10x down, savings. Here you go.
Well, at least you get some. The idea is you're getting even if you have a breakthrough infection, it's 5 times less likely, and it's the hospitalization and that sort of thing.
Yes,
I mean, the fully vaccinated people, you reduced your risks of these types of things. That's the only reason I put it up there.
I guess I'm getting stuck on the image that I'm looking at. It just there's just a disconnect. But Idaho.
Well, stop looking because it's gone.
Idaho. I am not now. It's interesting. A couple of months ago, one of my husband's dialysis nurses said he was visiting in Idaho, and they're very anti-vaxxing in Idaho. And I was surprised, but he said, "Oh, yeah."
By the way, they have very full hospitals, few beds left, and now there are issues with ambulances not being able to get there on time. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't want to be. I mean, I would say the thing is, it's always good to be focused mainly on your healthy immune system, doing the things that keep you healthy and staying positive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we still do believe in science. Certain things like gravity. Nobody denies gravity unless you really think it doesn't exist. You could walk off the Empire State Building and fall flat on your head. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just before we came on air, I was listening to our friend John Campbell from the UK, and totally different. This is not about Delta. This is about ivermectin, the antiviral medication, and he was.
No, it's actually It's not antiviral. It's antiparasitic.
Yeah, but it's also considered an antiviral. If you look it up, it's also considered an antiviral. So, and it may be off-label. It may be off-label, that categorized that way, but he was reporting about the Australian government about two of the main things, the reason they were saying don't do the ivermectin, and one was because social media posting is saying the wrong dosing, and he just sort of put that in its place. He said, when do doctors rely on social media as their dosing protocols, as their dosing information?
But this reminds me, I worked in a large medical clinic, and people would come in and deliberately ask doctors for certain pharmaceuticals that weren't necessarily indicated for their condition. And so I think what they're talking about is that a lot of healthcare providers feel pressure from opinions on social media that patients come in and they're afraid of losing their patients.
I would call that malpractice. If you're having the pressure to give you something that is not recommended, I don't think that's good medical practice at all. If that's happening,
it happens more than you might believe.
I'm sure that does, and I'm sorry to hear that, but I know, but I'm saying stop doing that.
Stop it.
Stop it. I mean,
stop it now.
If you want lawsuits. Can definitely happen, and then the second one was the shortage of ivermectin, and he, sort of dismissed that as being erroneous as well, because there's a lot of supply of ivermectin. So anyway, there's been a lot of downplaying of that particular medication as a
Well,
use.
it's the main shortage of ivermectin is actually coming from farm supply places.
Well,
There is a shortage. So.
Well, he actually disagreed with that. Completely disagreed with that, and had oftentimes he's got studies and reports and all sorts of things. So he blatantly.
I just look at retail information and availability and local tractor supply. So.
I mean, I don't mean to parrot him, to repeat everything he's saying, but if you want more information, he's quite thorough, and so he synthesizes a lot of things. So I take what he synthesizes and I share with you, and if you want to further look into it, that's perfectly a good idea, and I think I might as well.
It's not quite straight from the horse's mouth, but we would recommend that you check out John Campbell and his YouTube channel. So
John Campbell, yes, he's a retired nurse in the UK. So professor, yes,
he's Dr.
John,
which is interesting because my instructor from many years ago when I started school in Toronto, he was J.W. Duckworth, and he was the one who told us that he says, people in North America have this perverted idea that doctor only refers to medical doctor. He said that in the UK, you get a bachelor's of medicine, which allows you to practice medicine, but the only doctor of medicine is indeed a professor who teaches in a medical school. I always found that to be fascinating.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So Dr. John Campbell is clearly a professor.
Clearly a professor.
Yeah. Hey, so speaking of clarity, we need to move on here. Labor shortages you were talking about. I'm assuming this is not in OBGYN and delivery. There's no shortage of labor with children being born.
I don't know. There might be. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't specifically referring to that, but it could be. I don't know if the birth rate has gone down since COVID.
Actually, you know what? Birth rate actually has
gone up.
No, down. People thought it would go up, but apparently the birth rate actually has decreased during
I think people aren't getting together. You can't really do this Zooming. You can't do a Zoom birth or a Zoom conception.
Zoom conception. If it's immaculate, you can.
Yes, exactly. So so there we go. Labor shortages everywhere.
For sure.
So I mean, we're certainly seeing it in the nursing and healthcare field, which is unfortunate because there's a huge need. It just goes up and up and up, the need, and certainly in the future with the aging population, that's going to be more and more of a need. And a lot of people are not going into nursing homes. They're opting to stay at home. So there's more need for home health care, home health aides, and all sorts of things. And so I know President Biden has been proposing a bill or talking about this bill for many years about increasing the home and community services, home and community-based services. It's HCBS. And so he's been talking about increasing the revenue and the funding for that, those kinds of programs, which are helpful for people who want to stay at home. I mean, it is the best place for people to be. The term is called aging in place. So that is definitely.
Speaking of aging in place, this is something that is not just happening within healthcare, but there are, what was the figure? Was 30% or more of doctors and nurses who work in hospitals are looking at leaving because they've been so overwhelmed. What?
Yeah. It's I hear this all the time. I mean, shortages, they're short staffed, and then a lot of them don't want to get vaccinated, so they're leaving. A lot of them are just fed up, burnt out. Absolutely. You see the differences between like a couple of years ago and how the, these people in these fields are just burnt out. It's just too intense and nonstop.
By the way, this is not just affecting healthcare. There actually is a phenomenon that's occurring with people returning to the workforce in white-collar jobs and other places. And there are massive numbers of resignations now in various businesses. And the reason for that is people have gotten used to staying home, working from home with Zoom and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But they don't like the commute. They don't like the atmosphere of the office. And there's a phenomenon now, it's reported in a recent issue of Forbes magazine, of a pandemic of massive resignations within
Yeah.
large businesses. So
Yeah, I've seen that too, and I think in some ways it's healthier to have be able to work at home if you can, if your type of business, your type of field allows for that.
well, think of the commuting costs and the time. I mean, I remember in DC, I would spend like 50 minutes to an hour, and sometimes in bad weather, 2.5 hours, going from one office in Maryland to another one in Virginia. And the amount of time is extraordinary. And but so for healthcare practices, it's probably better not to have multiple offices if you're the single provider. But at the same time, can you think of this, the costs of commuting for the average worker?
I
It's
mean,
just
yeah.
extraordinary.
Yeah, and apparently, it was very low when COVID started. There was less traffic. Then it was, sort of minimal, and then it was frenzy, and now it's sort of getting into a normal here in LA anyway. I was just talking to an RN case manager this morning, and she is thrilled that she doesn't have to go down to downtown LA to work, and so, but she is no longer a case manager for us because she's overwhelmed with all these other programs and projects she's working on. So, so it's not even just the hands-on in the hospitals or facilities. It's also all the other administrative duties going on in that field.
Speaking of case managers and home health care and everything else like that, we can get into our Q&As with Betty from Denver.
Let's do it.
Betty says, I've been caring for a loved one. It's very time consuming. There's really no time for me. I need help. What can I do? And you are an expert when it comes to this.
I am an expert. Where's Betty from?
Denver, as I said earlier.
Denver. I didn't catch that. Hi, Betty from Denver.
Hi, Betty from Denver.
I am definitely an expert in that. And
I lived in Denver. That's the only expertise I have. So.
I've been to Denver. How's that? I've been to the airport.
It's better to live there than it is to visit there, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. So yeah, that is, a lot of people are dealing with that, whether it's an aging parent or, a spouse or even a child, having to take care of somebody other than their needs often do come first because they're, depending on their level of medical issues or whatever issues, whether it's, whatever issues, Alzheimer's or whatever. So yeah, I mean, you have to carve out some time for yourself. You just have to. And, here we're talking about all these shortages with help, but there are many, many community organizations and other kinds of organizations that could help with respite, whether it's a time or grants or what have you, to help you, to give you some time, whether it's an hour just to get out or, or whatever you can do, because you can get out a little bit more now than you were able to last year. But it's really imperative, whether it's just shutting the door for half an hour and doing something that's just like for you, something just for you, a bath, draw yourself a bath with some Epsom salts and put on some candles. I mean, it doesn't have to be something huge. It can be just small little moments throughout the day where you it's just focusing on you. Meditation.
It's also becoming aware sometimes of your surroundings, to be in the present moment as opposed to worrying about when the next shoe is going to drop. Like if you just notice a couple of things around you in terms of what you can see and maybe what you're hearing and those types of things, it can center you to be a little bit more present in the here and now. Unless
you're hearing actual shoes drop, or you're hearing some sort of moaning, or you're hearing something that's related to the person that you're caring for, because that just takes you back into this world. What I do, and it's like clockwork, I do it every day, and it's very rare that I miss this, and I've been doing it for a long, long time, is I meditate for 20 minutes. I put 20 minutes on my iPhone and I put the timer on, and putting the timer on is really important because you don't stop until the timer goes off. You just don't. So you're in the space of your time. And really, I mean, it's meditation. It's meditation for me, but it could be just an opportunity where you get to center yourself, get to sort of like, regroup, kind of regroup and let your thoughts just flow. And then it helps to clarify what's next, or or you may just fall asleep. It doesn't matter, but you have that timer, so it's going to wake you up at the end of 20 minutes. So I really think that's a great strategy, and it's really helpful for me. It's like a refresher button.
Refresh, reset.
Yeah, reset, refresh, regroup, and if
Repeat.
you want to
Repeat
and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And if you can take a walk, that's great. If you can do something physical, that's great too. But if you have any questions about what I just said about these 20 minutes, just email me or send a message here on our Facebook Live, and I will give you a little more instruction, some more ideas about what might help you in this regard.
And Monika has a great deal of expertise in terms of hiring people. So
yeah, that's quite a job, and you can find some really great people.
Yeah. So hopefully Betty from Denver, that's going to help you. And if you have any other questions or comments, you can reach Monika at coachingforhealth.com, or even on the Total Health Live Facebook page, which is where you may be. Actually, we're broadcasting in 8 different locations. So wherever you are, just let us know, and we get pinged periodically.
I just want to say I feel for you, Betty. I do.
Yeah. Denise from, I used to live there. Denise from Silver Spring, she has an S on the end. That's always very controversial because it is indeed singular. So Denise, Silver Spring, singular, no S on the end.
Okay.
I was living in the 20904 zip code. Or
I've been to Silver Spring.
Yeah, it's singular. It's also the home of the East Coast version of the AFI, the American Film Institute.
Interesting. Well, I went there to visit you once.
Yes, you did.
I did.
That was hilarious. I was in Baltimore though, wasn't it? There was
we went. I was at the Natural Products Expo East, which I used to go to all the time in Baltimore and DC and Silver Spring. And my cousin actually lived there as well. I went to visit her, and you came to visit us in Baltimore at the show. Is
your cousin's name Denise by any chance?
No, it isn't.
She's not Denise from Silver Spring.
No. My cousin
trying to sneak in professional consultations during our live broadcast.
No, she would just call me, but unfortunately, that cousin of mine has since passed away. Unfortunately.
Well, this is okay. So her name's not Denise. She's not calling us from the great beyond.
She is not.
Okay, good. So Denise, she says, I've been trying to eat cleaner. I always think that's an interesting, clean eating. No processed foods and going to fresh food markets. I hope I can keep it up. Most of my family and friends aren't that health conscious. How can I elevate them instead of joining them in their less than healthy ways? Do I need new friends? I think Denise, I think you do. I think you need new relatives, but that's my off the cuff thing. But if you're not going to elevate other people unless they're just going to imitate you. So being an example is far better than figuring you're going to try to change somebody. So
yeah. So your new friends should be healthy foods,
healthy friends,
good vegetables, healthy friends in every way.
But your friends should not be vegetables.
No, they should be. That should be your best friends.
Your best conversations don't often come over with
tomato. What you doing there?
The head of broccoli.
You don't necessarily have to talk to friends. You can just have this energetic relationship, which is what I recommend, because that good food is going to give you the energy that is tantamount to good health. So clean eating versus dirty eating, I guess that's
dirty,
what you're
dirty eating. Get away from those people who are dirty eaters.
That means you still have
no more
dirt.
dirty eaters.
You still have dirt on your vegetables, so you want to clean those vegetables, scrub them.
You know, this is one of the things you mentioned about scrubbing and cleaning vegetables. I don't think most vegetarians realize that, but they're famous for consuming more bugs and worms than omnivores.
I think that's good. There's nothing wrong with bugs and worms.
Well, no, you probably can't taste them actually by the time
if you listen to Zach Bush's Dr. Zach Bush's audios and audios, his videos and everything. I mean, it's all about bugs, eating good bugs, which is what we have come away from. We're such a
bug phobic
and sanitized culture, and it certainly has 10x or 100x
for 5x
in the last 18 months. You know, I mean,
oh man,
bugs are good bug. I mean,
one of the things I still want to try is that cricket meal where they actually grind up crickets and you can bake bread with it and things like that, because it's extremely high in protein. And potentially has just sort of like a little bit of a nutty taste, but nothing bad that you would notice. So.
Yes, and they sell it, and I think I've had it in something, and last week I found a cricket in my sink, so I just did not cook it. It looked pretty.
Did you ate them raw?
No, I put a jar over it because I wasn't in the right place for dealing with it. So I just but then one of my care aides, he didn't know there was something under the glass, so I have no idea where it went. But I think it went down the drain.
Either that, or it probably caused one of the shoes to drop.
Well, I was going to capture this. I'm laughing so much I've got some muscle spasms in my intercostals.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Ribs are painful.
Where's the magnesium?
Where's that magnesium? Hey, so Denise, I mean, I think the bottom line is, you can talk to your head of broccoli or your head of human resources. But I would say that if you really do believe that you're going to try and change other people, unfortunately, that's a very sad delusion. The people have to want to change. It's like the old joke. It was like, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb?
None.
Screwing a light bulb? No, it takes only one, but it takes.
But you have to want to.
At least, yeah, it takes like 24 visits, and the light bulb has to want to change. The light bulb has to want to, not you, but the light bulb.
That's right.
Anyway, so what would you advise Denise, since she doesn't want to be around these dirty eaters anymore?
Well, here's another thing. It's sort of similar to what Christopher was just saying, is like being an example. I deal with this a lot. I've worked with a lot of mothers, and they, they want to teach their kids how to eat properly. And I said, you have to do it. And then they watch you. They'll watch you. And you have to be enthusiastic, certainly. And you have to want to, just like the light bulb. So you have to be an example. You cannot force anybody else to change their ways or their behaviors, not at all. So if you're committed, and I hope you are, I would just start doing it, and they're either going to join you or they aren't. But don't let them deter you from your vision of healthy eating. And if you need to stay away from them for a while, do that.
Well, and here's the thing, Denise. You said that most of my family and friends aren't that health conscious. I would stick with those who are amongst your family and friends in the health conscious thing, and then just sort of expand that community around you.
Yeah, good point. So yes, choose the ones that are supportive and you're aligned with initially, so you can build that muscle, so to speak, that commitment to healthy eating. And that's what you want to do. You want to surround yourself with people that will support you, and you'll support each other. So and then who knows what will happen. Hopefully you may or may not elevate, but it's their journey. It's not your journey to teach them and train them and elevate them. It's your job to elevate yourself.
Elevate.
Pop
Anyway.
music.
That's the music. So let's go to Troy. Not Troy, New York, but Troy from
Helena. Is it
but
Helena of Troy?
Troy from Helen of Troy. That is true. Or Helena in ancient Greek. Yeah.
Yes.
So Troy from Albuquerque is asking something, I think.
Certainly not Greece.
No. Well, there is a Troy, New York and a Greece, New York, and they're both close to each other, which is
Oh, I didn't know there was a Greece.
upstate New York is full of Greek and Roman names. It's crazy.
Wow, there's a Klein, Texas.
There's a Buffalo, Texas, too. I have friends who have property there, but it's nothing like Buffalo, New York. So Troy from Albuquerque, we know where you are. He says, I went on a healthy eating program about 6 years ago. Gosh, that's when I bought this computer, was 6 years ago. He said, I did great. I lost 50 pounds, but since 2019, I started gaining it back slowly. Last year, during the height of COVID, I gained most of it back. I want to get back on track. Should I look at doing the same program again? What do you think? Well, first off, we don't know what program you were on, Troy from Albuquerque. So what do you think? What do you think about Troy?
Well, if it worked before, it's going to work again, hopefully, and you know it. And so if you've had results before, do it again, because it could have been a really great program for you. Now, your body changes, things change within 6 years or so. So, but I would try it. I would definitely, stick with it for at least 4 weeks and see if you're getting the same results. Or similar.
And I would say too, you do want to always have a physical or just get a general checkup, because there might be some hormonal issues, some changes that have occurred, even thyroid. And it's because if you don't find that you're, losing that 50 pounds again very quickly, you do want to get some professional consultation.
Or blood sugar. There might be a blood sugar. Yeah. So get some baseline blood work done. Go see your physician, get some blood work done, and see if anything has changed first and foremost. And at the very least, there's probably a lot of good things in that last program. I'm assuming that it was healthy eating, not dirty eating.
He said healthy eating, not dirty eating. It sounds like Troy was pretty clean.
Yeah,
it probably wasn't clean and mean, though, because he sounds like
who knows? Who knows? But
you think Troy is mean? I wouldn't accuse Troy. He just submitted a question.
No, I mean lean and mean, meaning serious.
Okay,
serious. So if it's healthy eating, where you're eating lots of really good fruits and vegetables and lean protein and good healthy fats, yes. If it was, doing smoothies all day, no. If it was, having protein bars all day, no. I mean, you need to eat food. You need to eat real food. So if it was an extreme kind of program, no. If it was something that was beneficial, and, if you were seeing your physician at that time and got a baseline blood work, and you saw some of that change in your next blood work, like improvement, then yes, you were on the right path. So, I hope it was a healthy program. You said it was a healthy program, so I'm assuming what healthy looks like.
Healthy apparently looks 50 pounds lighter, according to him.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully it's fat and not organ or muscle tissue. So
and hopefully you'll be able to get rid of some of the fat and increase your lean muscle and decrease your fat composition.
Hey, today seems to be Idaho Day, because we have Darla from Boise.
Idaho Day.
Darla is saying, since my second COVID shot, I've been suffering from a lot of joint pain. Is it related to the shot?
I don't know. It could be.
No idea.
It could be. There's a lot of people that have had symptoms with their shots that vary. Like, it's quite unbelievable, some of the variations of the reports that I've heard. And so it could be. But I mean, you might want to go to your physician again and maybe have something called a CRP, a C-reactive protein done, and see if there's some inflammation going on in your body. That would be beneficial. So also, you might start working with someone who deals in musculoskeletal issues, like a chiropractor or physical therapist. That's someone that you might want to consult with as well. But with regards to, it might be coincidental. And it might have been a reaction. We don't know, but get it checked out.
It would be Darla, somewhat unusual to be suffering from a lot of joint pain, and for what length of time, I'm not sure. You really haven't said here. It would be highly unusual. It could be what they call a comorbidity, which is just, you just happen to have another condition. And I have encountered patients sometimes who have 3 different conditions, and they all think that they're the same thing. So you do want to get this checked out. So.
Yeah, joint pain could be caused from several things, just like fatigue. Maybe not as much. Fatigue can be caused from more issues than the actual. Yeah. And you might want to trace, like, what were you doing after that? What have you been doing? I don't know when you had that second shot, but what have you been doing? Have you been doing more physical activities? So just sort of think back and trace it. So,
do you have an autoimmune condition? Is there a history of rheumatoid arthritis in your family? Do you have any bone spurs or things like that? Because sometimes any reaction, I know the reaction from the virus itself is inflammatory in nature, and your body, when it tries to heal, I mean, healing is an inflammatory process because your body sends more circulation to areas that are affected. So
yeah, it's sort of transitional. It's sort of transitional, like. Yeah. Sometimes when people have a cold or flu, when they're in a weight loss program, they're not losing anything. It's because the body's absorbing fluid to protect the tissue. So,
and are you staying well hydrated? Are you drinking enough water? Because that sometimes can increase joint pain also. So, let's see. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. So, Ken, do you know the way to San Jose? Ken is from San Jose.
I don't. Is that your question, Ken?
No. I was thinking of the Dionne Warwick song.
Just kidding. No, I know.
The way to San
Jose. I do know where you were going. I know the way that you were going.
Ken, he says, I suffer from ADD and would like some non-drug treatment recommendations. Signed, Lost in Distraction.
Lost in Distraction. Is that your moniker?
It's not mine. It's not my hashtag.
No, Ken's. I meant Ken's.
Ken. Yeah. This sounds like Dear Abby, where you don't even identify the person. It just says, Upper East Side wannabe,
So yes, I would. Yes, there are supplements, and there are different types of ADD. Who I usually recommend you do some research, either books or online, is Daniel Amen's work. He's he specializes in ADD and ADHD, and he has a plethora of information out there about these.
A cornucopia,
yes. So yeah, there are natural supplements that can help. You want to find out what kind of ADD you have, the type of ADD, and he's actually got. This is a plug, I guess, for his site, but he's got specific types of ADD supplements.
Isn't that brainmd.com? I think.
I don't think so, but there's all sorts of different kinds of. There's all sorts of companies that have different brain supplements. Whether it's phenylalanine or lots of DHA or fish oil. There's a lot of different ingredients that can help with calming down a specific part of the brain, because that's usually what's happening with ADD. One lobe of the brain is highly excited, and the other one is not working. It's understimulated. So what we want to do is balance that out. So there are specifics, and you can, and certainly, most importantly, eating well and getting sleep. 2 important components: natural remedies, sleep, and eating clean, healthy, and wise. Shall we call it that? Clean, healthy, and wise?
Clean, healthy, wise.
Yes. So those will help your brain function for sure.
I'm just looking here. Yeah, this is Daniel Amen, brainmd.com.
Okay, those are his supplements. Okay.
Yeah, well, he also has. So this is interesting. So maybe I'll share this just for a quick second while we go until we go on to the next question. So, share the screen. I'm just going to share the whole screen, and then we can go over to that little place right cheer out of the inception. Get off there. Get off there. Because he's got his public TV things on ADD are here. See?
Yes,
Daniel
so
Amen.
this is a plug for Daniel Amen.
This is a plug for Daniel Amen.
So there we go.
But I'm a great admirer of his, and his wife was a nurse, Tana. They both are very interesting. And they had a whole bunch of controversy when he went to Disneyland and got his vaccine, because a lot of his followers called him a traitor and a hypocrite and this and that. But he was very concerned about the inflammatory reaction in the brain. So,
well, it's interesting because when I was doing my television show called Total Health Talk, which sometimes I mix this up, Total Health Live, Total Health Talk, I did Total Health Talk for 12 years. So that's
a lot of talking.
It's in my brain, and I didn't do all the talking. I had exceptional guests. And one of them was Daniel Amen. I had him on my show. And that was the first time that I was introduced to him and his work. And it was just very interesting with the PET scans. That's another thing. You can have PET scans done, which can identify which part of the brain is not working as well and which is over
or has too much activity.
Yeah. So it's really, there is help for you.
Yeah. It's not like a CAT scan where you just have the cat going over you. Meow.
Yeah.
That's totally different. So Ken, there is hope for you in San Jose. Mm-hmm. So you will no longer be lost in distraction.
You know, my cat does a CAT scan every night.
Every night you get a CAT scan.
It does a CAT scan on my arms, my face. She's like right in my face. So
isn't it great to have free CAT scans? No,
they're the best. They're so healing when they're real.
Our last question for the day comes from Eloise from Simi Valley, which I know is a place where people have court cases.
Simi Valley is it does other things besides that. But yeah, it's close by. It's in the Conejo Valley. From LA to Santa Barbara, it's here in the Conejo Valley.
Okay. Well, anyway, so Eloise states, I have a severe rash from flea bites. What natural remedies or supplements do you recommend to cure my ills?
Well, one thing that's really great for any kind of bite and calming down the itchiness is calamine lotion. It's just really a good thing. There are other topical remedies you can try. Over the counter, if you go to your Whole Foods or Sprouts or some sort of natural food or pharmacy, they'll have specific remedies. But also you want to build up your immune system too. Vitamin D and quercetin is really helpful. Quercetin and bromelain, it's helpful to reduce some of the inflammation that might be going on in your body, and also
vitamin C, particularly like
vitamin C, yes, vitamin C.
Where it hangs around on your cell membrane as if it was a fat soluble vitamin.
So good for your tissue and so good for healing. So vitamin C would be exceptional. Sometimes you get like maybe anxious about this. What is this? And the itching kind of drives you crazy. So something that'll calm you down a little bit might be helpful too. Magnesium might be helpful. So it will go away. Just look for some topicals as well as something to support your immune system as well.
Yeah, I think that is pretty good advice.
Although there's also hives associated with it. So stinging nettle is also beneficial for any kind of hives reaction.
And you have to be careful too, because you really don't know necessarily, is it a flea or is it a tick? And one of my friends up in Baltimore ran a clinic specializing in Lyme disease. And so sometimes ticks I don't think you're going to see Lyme too prevalent in California where you are out here, but if you do visit back east, that still is a concern. And Lyme, you always want to get checked out if it's something that persists and you're feeling a lot of fatigue. So. Yeah,
could be Lyme disease, but so you want to check out, Google some images of skin irritations.
What does it look like? Get the pictures, the skin pictures.
They're really helpful. And so I think tick looks distinctly different from a flea, so you might want to evaluate there. And then also, if you still can't figure it out and you're still in distress, please visit your physician.
And don't rely on wearing the Heart's flea and tick collar. That's not
Do
good. Not
not
made
wear
for
that.
humans. Don't do it.
Although you might, if you got the fleas from your pet, give them that.
Yeah, give them that. Give them a good flea and tick bath.
Oh, garlic. Garlic is also good for fleas.
It's also good for scaring vampires away from biting.
Yes, which the fleas are like vampires because they're irritating like vampires, I guess, but they're not sucking blood like a mosquito would, or
So hopefully we are not irritating to you, and you found this information quite helpful today. We're pretty much wrapping this up because we've got 2:00 appointments. Both of us actually do.
And I bet you're busy too. So
everybody's busy.
Busy. Yes.
Hey, remember, use the hashtag replay here. Please like the YouTube channel. Please put a little a thumbs up or so on the, or even leave comments on the YouTube, on the Facebook, on the whole thing. Give us a few little hearts here on the Book of Faces. And those of you who watch on Periscope on Twitter, we actually do know that you watch us periodically, and we're very happy that you do that. So until next week, we'll be back here at 1:00 Pacific, 4:00 Eastern. If it's Friday, it's Friday for Twitter Health Live. Yay.
Be healthy, happy, and see you next week.